This is the big time right now.
On today's show, Mother's Day weekend goes to the birds, the warblers to be exact. People gather to try and catch a peek. Man's best friend is now a mushroom hunter's too.
You need one?
This Minnesotan trains dogs to go on the hunt. Plus, we meet up with the Dandelion guys.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hi everybody, Bill, Millie and I welcome you to Minnesota Bound.
Up first today, we are headed to Red Wing, Minnesota, where Mother's Day plays second fiddle to another big event.
A weekend of bird watching where the warbler is the star of the show.
The sun's up now, it's more like morning. Okay, we'll self-select again. I'm gonna go to Hoaxilla South. So if anybody is a beginning birder, if you would like to just learn a lot in a hurry, chases the person. This is called the Warbler Weekend. It began in 1972. He's right up here. We're actually celebrating all birds. We have 128 people, last I saw was the count. This is the big time right now. It's the migration time. You might see 25 different kinds of warblers and a number more of other species. There's going to be two groups of us in Hoaxilla South. We're going to start along the river. This is the warbler that pumps his tail almost constantly, so if you get the binoculars on him and it's at a far distance, you can really surprise people by knowing what that is. They're an early migrant. They go all the way up to the tundra, and they do nest in the Arrowhead of Minnesota. Anytime you're around water, you got a better chance for more diversity of all kinds of birds. Birds are hormonally driven, and that starts before they leave their wintering grounds. Some of the treetop warblers, like say Cape May or Nashville, will be right down at eye level because they're hungry or tired. What we're listening to is a rose-breasted grosbeak, and she's right. It has buzzy notes in it.
See what we see. But I was hoping to see a lot more warblers than we have.
It was a lot different in the 70s, and early 80s particularly. There were many more individual birds. All the species are still here, but many fewer numbers. That's just what's happening in the natural world. But we still celebrate because Minnesota is lucky enough to have almost all the eastern warblers come through here, through the Mississippi Flyway. It's the most active time for birding.
Well, there's your goldfinch up here, everybody, if you want to see a goldfinch in all of its beautiful gold.
He's about 10 feet above that on the left side.
Oh, I see.
Exit the Y and then go up the left side.
We saw all kinds of birds. I mean, yellow-bellied and red-bellied, or what is it? Yeah, yellow-bellied sapsucker. Yeah, the red-bellied, the hairy.
Audubon is a very open. It's not a closed group. You don't even have to be a member. You can come to events. I would say good boots and binoculars and
Pretty easy.
And you're set up. If you go up to hikes on the North Shore, there are trails through the woods that are rocky and steep in some places and close to the river here. This is good for people of all physical abilities. I hope more people will celebrate diversity and celebrate the natural world and care about it enough to ask other people to get involved too.
It's just fun to be around other people that appreciate birds.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Coors Light, Ice Castle Fish House and RV, and by White Bear Lake Superstore.
It's officially morel mushroom season, where we go off to hunt the most camouflaged, delicious treat. A local dog trainer wants to help you and your canine companion find more mushrooms.
Morel mushrooms are considered edible gold once you've tasted them. That's how morel hunters are born. You need the right conditions where morels pop up and a keen eye to spot them. So why not add a keen nose to help you in your search for gold?
You need one?
Meet dog trainer Inga Fromm. She offers classes to train your dog to help find those tasty morels.
Everybody's working with the full mushroom.
What we're gonna do is I'm going to now hide a mushroom for your dog, and you're not gonna know where it is. And then, if you have success, we're going to use more than one mushroom.
Yes! Nice job, you found it. What a good boy.
It was only a matter of time before someone figured if a dog can find a pheasant, it can find a mushroom too.
Pinpointing right there.
Yes, good boy.
Yeah, good job.
So the students are going to be working on the last session of a 4-session class, and this is an introduction class. You'll see in the class today that there's a variety of different breeds and breed mixes. So it's not just one kind of dog. If the dog really enjoys scent work and working with their owner, it can go really fast. If they've had any kind of field work, so gun dog training, that's going to move them along faster. If they haven't had any of that work, you can just get a random dog that just likes to find stuff, and they pick it up like that.
For morel lovers, the motivation to find gold is high. For dogs, well, that's yet to be determined.
So what you guys are gonna be doing today is seeing if your practice has paid off. So we're gonna see if the dogs can do it in the real world, right? So we know there's morels out there, and we've been training them to find morels.
Graduation for Inga's class, of course, is out in the woods.
What I'm gonna do is give them a very general area to look, to search, but I don't want them to know where it is. Because then it's no fun. And then once we're at the start area, you're gonna show him the morel that you have. Okay. You're gonna put that morel away, and then you're gonna give him his cue to search. Oh, he took a big sniff there.
Is that it?
Good job, buddy.
Hey.
Good job, Keegan. Oh, she's sniffing, she's sniffing, she's sniffing, she's found it. Mark. Oh. Yeah, good job. All right.
Some dogs sniffed out success, while others need a bit more morel sniffing practice.
Find the morel. Go find it. Where is it? Let's go look. Come on.
Either way, the shroom search with your canine pal is a special day in the woods and another way to enjoy your dog.
Morels are such a treat, and they're kind of ephemeral. You never know if it's going to be a good year, a bad year. You got to find the right place and the right weather conditions. It makes it really special when you're hunting them, and to take your dog along, of course, makes it that much better.
However, training a dog to find mushrooms takes patience.
It can be tricky because we don't really have fresh morels all the time to work with, and we've learned that using dried morels initially for our training really didn't translate as well to fresh morels.
Keep in mind, some mushrooms should not be eaten by a dog.
She is really good about pinpointing that one scent that we're looking for, because once she knows what she's looking for, she's only looking for that scent, which is helpful because, yeah, not all mushrooms are safe for animals.
And the moral of the story is, that's right, I had to say it.
I just really think it's important to give your dog a job and a pastime, something to bond with them over and go out and enjoy nature.
Good girl. Yes, lie down. Good girl. Good job.
Still ahead, we go back in time with shooting sports top teacher. But first, the story of a lawn weed most folks like to kill off. But turns out dandelions are actually quite dandy.
Closed captioning provided by Star Bank.
Up next, Ron Shera waxes about a plant most folks might see as a yardweed. What is up with dandelions?
This wildflower needs no introduction. Everybody knows its name. Everybody with a lawn hates it. And everybody who hates it tries to eradicate the plant with a French name, meaning lion's tooth. The lowly dandelion. Lowly? This is fake news, dandelion detractors, because the dandelion is considered one of the most successful plants in the world. In fact, this member of the sunflower family is, well, rather amazing. Every part of the plant is useful. You can eat it, drink it, or use it as a laxative. Can a rose by any other name claim that? Dandelions have the longest flowering season of any plant. Think about that. We spend millions a year to eradicate dandelions, so what happens? They outlast us. The flower needs no help from bees or butterflies to pollinate for seed. Once mature, the seeds, each with a tiny white parachute, break loose and may float through the air for miles to grow somewhere else. Dandelions are survivors. And get this, European settlers so cherished the plant, they brought dandelions to North America. In Minnesota, the story goes, dandelions arrived here in 1849 thanks to Harriet Godfrey, who lived in the Ard Godfrey House near St. Anthony Falls. Built in 1847, the Godfrey House, as it's known, is still standing, and the dandelions are still growing. Are you starting to feel the love? How about a glass of wine to settle your nerves? Dandelion wine.
This year's batch will be dandelion only. So dandelion, a little sugar, a little bit of nutrient, and that's it.
Meet winemaker Jeff Zeitler.
I'd heard about dandelion wine and looked up some recipes, found out it was easy, and I made a batch. And actually, the first batch of dandelion wine I made was one of the best batches I had ever made it up till that point. Floral, kind of honey-like, slightly bitter. It's to me, it's very fresh, it tastes like springtime. It tastes like springtime. I don't know how else, it's like fresh and kind of a little bit fruity and flowery, and there's a lot of life in it.
A winemaker is also quick to understand.
Dandelions are free. And they're everywhere. You could buy grape juice from California, but I like using the stuff that I can find around here. So you spend a day out in the field, pick the dandelions, separate the dandelion heads from the rest of the dandelions, so just the yellow part. Take those back, so you end up with a bucket of yellow dandelion fluff at the end of the day. And you put that into hot water. You add a little bit of sugar, a little bit of yeast nutrient, a little bit of yeast, but you let that start fermenting. That becomes your wine.
A different idea about dandelions? Well, here's one. If you drink enough wine, you'll never pick a dandelion before it's time.
Hey everybody, Bill Shirk, the man about the woods. It's that time of the year when I start thinking open water fishing season. And that means it's time to get all the gear ready. Manufacturers will tell you to lubricate your reels once a year, and you just put a little dab in anywhere you have a moving part to keep the reel in good order. But here's what you want to pay attention to. Sometimes people will grab a tube of like lithium grease. This is far too thick, far too heavy duty. What happens is this stuff will hold grime and dust and grit, and that will actually ruin your reel over time. Instead, what you want to look for, high-end reels will come with a little bottle of lubricant. Use that. Otherwise, my go-to is just a small tin of synthetic oil. And I just put a little drop into all the moving parts, keeping in mind that less is more. Just one little drop is all you need to get your reels ready for the new season. Take care of your gear. Number one, it lasts. And number two, it's going to be ready when that big fish bites.
Straight ahead, a Minnesota-bound classic aimed at getting students to shoot right on target.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Midwest Exteriors MN, Warner's Dock, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
Today's Minnesota-bound classic takes Ron Schara back to the year 1996.
It was the day he met Minnesota's shotgunning teacher.
Pull. In the sport of shotgunning, if you can't hit the broadside of a barn, Steve Schultz's task is to improve your shooting eye.
Pull. That's the move I want. Now this time shoot right at him. Okay.
As a professional shooting coach, Schultz held a shotgunning school the other day, sponsored by Federal Cartridge, and it attracted several students who weren't exactly wing shooting wonders.
Pull it. Where are you looking for the bird?
Round after round, Schultz patiently watched his students try to shatter a clay bird instead of shooting holes in the sky. Wing shooting seems simple enough.
The gun's gonna just come right up, boom.
Just a saucer made of pitch and tar and tossed through the air by a mechanical assistant coach sitting in the trap house. But to hit the dang thing, it takes a little eye-hand coordination and plenty of practice.
Good eye-hand coordination is always a plus, but if you're asking me, is it in your genes? No, it's not.
The coach says pointing your finger is a basic lesson in becoming a dead eye.
Little kids point all the time, and when they point at something, they point right at it. Some of it has to do with muscle memory and the way your brain works, but if you can point a finger, you can hit one of these in the air. Ready, Trapper? Pull.
The idea that sports shooting is a fun pursuit is the reason behind federal shotgun schools, which are held throughout the country.
We're going to shoot him right there.
Margaret McDonald says the schools also are attracting a new kind of student.
So we're definitely seeing an increase of women participating in the sport.
And you must like that.
Oh, I love it. It's great. It's nice to have companions.
Male or female, the key to being a good wing shooter is always an elusive target of its own.
Behind again.
I learned how to mount a gun and how to point my finger instead of aiming it.
This morning we discovered when we were shooting that I am what they call left eye dominant.
If you make a big move with it, it's hard to stop.
But soon the lessons find their mark.
Pull.
Pull, and the clay birds are turned to dust.
Pull. I got him.
Oh yeah. When you see one of these come apart, everybody gets a big grin on their face.
And I'm a smiling Ron Schara, Minnesota bound.
Working with the shooting coach really is no different from golf and working with one of those coaches. You've used one before, right?
I have, many a times. They're very helpful.
Yes, they are. Well, that about does it for us, Millie. You, Laura, and I will see you back here hopefully next week.
In the meantime, don't forget to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433. To get more Minnesota Bound, including full episodes, go to mnbound.com. And to follow our latest adventures, like us on Facebook.